In these problems, we are factoring trinomials. And what is a trinomial? Well, tri means 3, and nom here just means name. So you can think of trinomials as things that have 3 terms. So if you look at this one, we have a b term, a b squared term, and a number term. That's a trinomial. And when we deal with these, we like to order them so that the highest power term is first. So I'm just going to rewrite this as b squared plus 5b plus 6. That's the same thing. It's just ordered from highest to lowest power. Now, when you factor a trinomial, what you're really doing is the opposite of foiling. And maybe you remember using FOIL to multiply two binomials or two-termed things. So let's say, for example, we had x plus 2 and x plus 3. If you wanted to multiply those together, you would FOIL them. You'd use multiply the first terms, the outside terms, the inside terms, the last terms, and then add everything together. So just as a review, the first would be the x times the x. That would give us x squared. The outside would be the x times the 3. So that would give us plus 3x. The inside terms would be the 2 and the x, so that's plus 2x. And the last terms are the 2 and the 3. Those multiplied together make 6. Then we just add the like terms, the 3x and the 2x, and we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. So that is foiling. Factoring is going backwards. And what you'll see here is I basically did the same problem. This has got b as the variable, this has got x as the variable, but this is the foiling that would end you up with a trinomial that looks like that. These are the factors that multiply together to give you that trinomial. What we're trying to do is find the factors. So how do we do this in a general way? Well, when you have something like this first term is just the variable squared. What you know, let me write this down here, b squared plus 5b plus 6. You know you're looking for two factors, two binomials. And in this case, everything's plus, so I'm just going to put pluses in the middle. We'll talk about other sign configurations in a minute. The first term comes, the highest order term here, comes from the first of that foiling. So what multiplies together to give b squared? Well, just b times b. So this is a b, and this is a b. And if you're going to FOIL that, the first step would be b times b equals b squared. So that's taking care of that. The numbers that go in here come from here, whatever multiplies together to give 6. And this is where it gets a little tricky because there's more than one thing that multiplies together to give 6. This could be a 1 times 6, or it could be a 2 times 3. So those are my factors of 6. The way to choose the correct set of factors is that they have to add up to the middle term. So 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 6 is 7, so it's going to be these two guys, so it's b plus 2 and b plus 3 as your factors. And you saw just here that does FOIL out to that same thing. So when you're doing this, you take the first term, put it up here, and then you take the factors of your last term. They have to multiply out to be the last term. They have to add up to be the middle term. That's probably a lot to take in all at once. Let's just do some practice to get used to this. So here we go. We have x squared minus 8x minus 9. This is all in the right order. We've got our x squared term first. I know I'm going to have two factors. I've got a minus sign here on the last term. The numbers that multiply to give a minus sign would be one positive and one negative. So I know it's going to look like that. And my first term has to come from x times x. So I can put that in at the beginning. All right, so that's the first step. All we need now are the numbers that go in here. And remember, the numbers are factors of this. Well, and the factors of 9 are 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. But we're actually looking for a negative 9. So this could be a negative 1 times 9, or it could be a 1 times a negative 9. And it could be a negative 3 times 3, or I suppose a 3 times a negative 3 really amounts to the same thing. Now we want to choose the set of factors. Well, they all multiply out to negative 9. We want to choose the set of factors that adds up to negative 8, the middle term. Let's see, negative 1 and 9, that adds up to a positive 8. 1 and negative 9, aha, that adds up to a negative 8. So I can put my 9 here and 1 here. If you want to test whether this is really the right answer, just FOIL this out, and you should end up with that trinomial. All right, let's try a couple more. Practice makes perfect. So here we have x squared minus 11x plus 24. Again, this is all in the right order. So I'm going to make my two sets of parentheses. X squared is our first term, so this has got to come from x times x. And then I've got a positive number at the end here, but I've got a negative number in the middle. So how can something multiply out to be positive and add up to be negative? The only way that can happen is if they're both negative. So we know the signs are going to be like that. And let's see, 24, well, I can have 1 and 24, and those have to both be negative. Or I could have 3 times 8, or I could have 6 times 4. I suppose I could have 2 times 12. I think we've got it, though, because we're looking for a negative 11. And negative 3 and negative 8, that's going to add up to negative 11. So 3, 8, multiplies out to positive 24, adds up to negative 11. All right, one more. So here we have x squared minus 2x minus 35. It's all in the right order, so we'll just start by making our parentheses, sticking in our x here. Now it looks like we have a negative number for our last term. The only way that can happen is if one of these numbers is positive and one is negative. It takes a positive and a negative to multiply to a negative. And we've got to add up to a negative 2. So let's see. Without even listing all the factors, I'm thinking of 5 and 7. The difference there is 2. So we could have a negative 5 and a positive 7. That would be a positive 2. Or we could have a 5 and a negative 7. That would be negative 2 when they add up. So I could put in the 5 here and the 7 here. So that's a little practice with factoring trinomials. Remember, make your parentheses, chuck your first term in there, and then list the factors of that last number. And the numbers that go in here have to multiply out to be this number. They have to add up to be this number. Good luck.